The Get Better podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants. Please remember to gamble responsibly.
Dude, I don't know Tony at all. Never met him, never heard of him. First time I'd ever read anything about him. He's my new guru. Like he's everything for me for baseball betting from now on. Like I'll follow this guy to the end of the earth on any bet he wants. And the theory that you're about to take us through, I'm all in on this.
Welcome to Get Better Sports for April 3rd, a rare Saturday evening podcast here. It's not often we do that, which is obviously a telling sign for the times that we're in a nice COVID lockdown episode. Here we are.
Yeah, it's the lockdown special, Saturday night. You can tell how busy our lives are too.
Yeah, it says something when we're recording a podcast on a Saturday evening. So but hey, you know what? You do what you got to do in a lockdown, and hey, this is an opportunity for us to chat a little bit about MLB.
Yes. Brand new season, all the hope. Everybody still thinks they got a shot.
Yeah, opening week. Yeah, opening week, and our beloved Blue Jays are 500.
Yes,
right. So that's good. They take the first game on Thursday against the Yankees, and a thrilling one. Went extras, I think, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they think they won it in 10, and then lose today. But hey, they are 500. So exciting time to have MLB back up and running and playing. So we're gonna take a little closer look at MLB today, and we're gonna do it a little bit of a different perspective, I guess. Like first. Like Gub, how much of an MLB fan are you? Like how much do you know about MLB?
So I know enough about MLB, but I do not bet it often. From a betting standpoint, it's like a once a week type thing. You know, maybe I'll have some friends over, we'll place a bet. That's about it. But generally, my baseball knowledge is fairly minimal.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm with you there on that one. I feel like MLB there's just a lot to know, and to really, you really have to be in touch with the teams. You have to be in touch with the pitchers. You have to be in touch.
So many games,
just way too many games. So for me, it's hard. I actually don't do a lot of MLB betting either, but that's why I think maybe for this podcast, good opportunity for us to dissect it a little bit and find a couple of easy, simple bets. If you're new to it, you want to get in on MLB betting, you know, you don't maybe want to put in quite as much insight and research into all of the analytics and knowing everything about all the teams, and all the pitchers and the bullpens and all that crazy nuance that you would need to really know and follow and understand and track. We're going to find just maybe a couple of theories or systems that we think probably work best and are a good opportunity to kind of get in at a beginner level and try betting some MLB.
What a great resource this podcast is. What a great resource we could be for that beginner better, trying to get better. So like if you're looking again at baseball, the first thing we're going to talk about is strictly how do we bet the money line. So you know what really to look for on the money line. The big takeaway that we found is unlike the other sports, the favorite wins the least in baseball. When we were looking at the numbers, like you look at the top team in baseball last year, Yankees won 59% of the time. That is amazing. That's like a top team. You look at the NFL, top team 87% of the time. NBA 68% of the time they win. I'm surprised that one it wasn't even more higher. But it just shows you when you look deep into the numbers. And NHL was at 71% for Tampa. So again, you could see that if you're betting on favorites, it's probably not the most profitable way to win at baseball.
Yeah, and it's and kudos to you, big stat guy week for you. Putting in the work, putting in a little bit of the research.
It was so hard to Google last year's standings.
Hey, you know what? That's still worthy of stat guy. So, and you know what? It's interesting because baseball is the one sport where you can actually, and for this exact reason, you can actually if you're betting sort of the underdog, you could have a losing record and still be profitable, right? And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people say fade the favorite. It's going to get hammered by the public anyways. Yep. But you can be profitable betting the underdog and still having a losing record, just simply on the basis that you're going to get a lot more value out of that underdog. Now, the thing for me is I read a lot of the similar research that you did there, just in terms of not betting the favorite. There's so many games, and you're just not going to get a lot of value there. The question then becomes, how do you know which underdogs to bet? And there's so many games on a given day, so many games throughout the course of the season. It seems to be the theme for this podcast. There's just so much baseball in the season. But how do you know which to bet? So I stumbled across a theory that I think we're going to need to put into practice here. We're gonna have to run this one, do some tests with this. But it's a theory by, and again, I hadn't heard of this gentleman by the name of Tony Stofo. I hope I didn't butcher that last name, but I may have. But I think he's a bit of maybe an MLB betting legend. When I looked him up, his theory was talked about on a number of different forums, and was getting some praise. And what I love about this theory is it strictly focuses on narrowing down how to bet the underdog on the money line for MLB baseball. And it's actually really smart, like the way that he breaks it down and looks at it.
Dude, I don't know Tony at all. Never met him, never heard of him. First time I had ever read anything about him. He's my new guru. Like he's everything for me for baseball betting from now on. Like I'll follow this guy to the end of the earth on any bet he wants. And the theory that you're about to take us through, I'm all in on this.
Yeah, I like it. And kudos to Tony here for putting in the work.
Oh my God. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for putting in the work.
I know.
So we can win money.
So here it is. Here's how he breaks it down. It's a 3-step process in terms of determining. And he's looking at it on a given day. So how the process works is you take a given day of matchups, you look at what the odds are, and this is how you break it down. So the first thing you do is you look and you identify if there's any favorites here that are sitting, or any matchups plus 150, you're going to fade those matchups, right? Because in that sense, that favorite, he's favored significantly. That team is favored significantly. The chances are they're going to win that ball game. So don't play in that territory. You want to look in around that 120, 130, somewhere in that range where there is an underdog, there is a favorite, but it could be tight, could be close. Those are the games you want to focus on. So that's step number 1 in terms of narrowing down your focus. The second step in the process is to look at the underdogs that have lost 3 in a row. So they're slumping.
Okay.
Get rid of them. We're not interested in that. Same thing. Conversely, you want to look at any of the favorites that have won 3 in a row, so are streaking. You don't want to run into a hot team. You don't want to run into a slumping team. So you rule those out. Gone. The third and final step is to look at the pitchers, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And if you've got any team there, any of the favorites that have got their ace on the mound or have a top 20 pitcher who's pitching, get out of it, fade it. Don't even consider it. Don't look at it. Because chances are, if it's the favorite and they have their ace on the mound, they're probably going to win that game. Yeah. So the whole theory is really about whittling down to give you the best.
I love this theory. It's a process of elimination. I love the fact you don't even know who you're betting on that day. You have no idea until you put the work in. It just, as soon as I went and looked right away. Immediately I saw 5 teams that were above minus 150. So 5 games gone. Obviously we're at the beginning of the season, so I can't do the streaks of the pitchers yet, but we got to do this, man. We got to do this.
So that's why I think this is a theory. Maybe about a month in, we'll sort of let the season breathe a little bit. We'll see sort of where the teams
figure out who's good.
We can maybe start to see some of the trends in terms of streaks and things like that. So maybe a month and a half in, I think we put this theory. I think we take Tony's theory and put it to test and see how it actually does. Yeah,
my
big
man.
Tony fan now. And quite honestly, we probably should have put a little bit of work in here and looked at the bio of Tony and who this gentleman actually is. But his theory, to me, on paper right now, sounds brilliant. Sounds like it makes a lot of sense. You're going to narrow down the focus, increase your odds, and you're going to bet the underdogs on the money line where you can get some value. Like, I love this. I think this could be a winning theory. We're going to put it to work.
Gold to me. Gold.
Yeah. And actually, while we're just plugging Tony here and making him sound like he's the smartest man to ever engage in sports betting, we came across a pretty good site.
Pretty good. Daily, what is it? Daily Baseball Data.
Yeah, dailybaseballData.com. Like it. Lots.
Good site.
Yeah, just a really good aggregator of information. Not the prettiest looking site, and absolutely no offense to whoever's built the sites, because you've done a heck of a job in terms of the amount of information that's in here. But you can see everything from the teams, the batters, the pitchers for every single day, all everything that's coming here. The other piece they have here is really nice tab is the weather. Really
love this part of betting, and I feel almost kind of foolish that I've never looked at this before, because it makes so much sense. So again, we're talking the basic things you're going to bet on. We talked a little bit about the money line here. The other one, over-unders.
Yeah.
What if just factoring in the weather? Well, it turns out the weather does play obviously a huge factor in baseball. And very simply, when the wind is going out, the ball will go with it. When the wind is coming in, it will stop the ball. Straight science, no questions about it. The question is really, and I'll pose this to the question for you, Luke. Said ball is pop fly. Let's say it goes, okay, let's use this. A ball travels 400 feet with no wind.
Sounds like a math question.
That same ball with 15 miles an hour of wind, how much further will that ball fly?
In feet. I feel like I'm back in like grade 6 math here, and I'm trying to figure out what the equation. So in feet, an extra 15 miles an hour on the way out. I don't know, maybe another 15, 20 feet.
Well, surprise, surprise. According to Google and whoever put this research together, it's about 42 feet. Now, if I'm wrong, again, I do not want to take credit for this. I did not take a bat and a ball and go practice it outside and on different days. I'm just absolutely trusting what somebody's saying here, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. So they did an exercise where whenever a game was 15 miles an hour of wind blowing in,
right,
that under hit 55% of the time. And that 55% number, if you've listened to the podcast, that's that sweet number we're always looking for. Again, if you're doing a proportional betting system where you're betting 10% of your bankroll, if you can find those bets that hit 55% of the time over a lifetime or over a set period of time, you're going to get paid out. So they did this data and they ran it, and it makes perfect sense. So I want to try it. I want to try it tomorrow, immediately. And this site is perfect. They even got these beautiful little arrows on the diamond to tell you which way the wind's going. You find the miles an hour and you place your bet.
And I love that, because when we first talked about this theory, when I first read about this, I was like, how am I going to know if the wind is blowing in or out?
Yeah.
dailybaseballData.com.
They just put it there.
Sweet little arrow that points whichever direction that wind is blowing. And if the wind is really blowing, that arrow is a lot larger. Like, they simplified the process for us here. But it sounds like a plausible, it just sounds like a logical theory, right? Very simple, very basic. I mean, at the end of the day, we're betting on wind here.
Yep.
A lot like betting on the nerves of young college basketball players too. So there's a trend here. We had a lot of success with that. Who knows what could happen?
Let's see what happens.
Let's ride the wind. That's just like a fun over-under bet, something to look at. Now, what I would say, I think, and maybe it'd be worth jumping in and having a peek at maybe who the pitchers are and who the teams are. Just making sure that you fully understand sort of how that plays in and how that works. But I could see the weather being a big part, and the wind. Like, I would have never thought about the wind blowing in and out of a baseball diamond and having impact. It didn't dawn on me as being that significant. But clearly people have done the research and looked at it. So You said you want to put it into practice immediately.
So immediately. So again, yeah. So they were saying that the bet worked on the under. So we're going to try it on both sides of this. Again, they were looking for that 15 mile an hour, 5 to 15 mile an hour, where you start to see some movement on that. So there's 2 games we're looking at to try to play it on both sides and just sort of see how we do. Tomorrow we got Texas and the Kansas City Royals with 13 to 15 mile an hour winds heading out. Bombs are happening left and right. Over under 9.5. A lot of runs. It's a lot of runs. But we're taking the over, and we're taking it with confidence. We're trusting Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Take that ball far.
Yeah. As Phil Mickelson might say, long, deep bombs. So the other thing to factor in here is
the park.
These 2 teams, the park. So actually, there's a couple things: the 2 teams and the park. So the park itself, I think it's Kauffman Stadium in KC, not a hitter's ballpark. So interesting that we say that, not a hitter's ballpark. Who knows? But if you look at these 2 teams, they've played each other twice already this season. Obviously, it's opening week, and both of those games have gone significantly over. Like I think the first game was like 11-10 or 14-10 or something like that. I can't remember what the score was, but both games have gone significantly over. So I'm curious to see what are the odds on this game right now. You're probably not getting a ton of value on that, because I bet you the public's gone a little bit crazy on it. But for the sheer purpose of practicing the theory, I like this one. Let's give it a little test. Let's see what happens, and hopefully we see a lot of balls leaving the park.
Yeah, you can see that the public is betting on the over with the -115 sitting there versus the -105 for the under. But they haven't moved the line yet, so that's good. So we're just losing the odds.
Okay.
I'll take a little bit of odds loss before they actually move that. So that's a good one for the over. Now to play the theory, the kind of the way that whoever did this test did, looking for a game, and it's the Dodgers versus Colorado Rockies. We got 5 miles an hour of wind coming in.
Okay. Light breezy, sure.
Light breeze,
little breezy.
Nothing that's going to knock you over for sure. We could use a little bit of a bigger gust for sure, but this is the one we're trying out. And the best part about it, when I looked at the stat, it's at 12. The over under's at 12.
And where's it playing?
Seems pretty high. Colorado, I know. I know.
So Colorado and
thin air. That wind needs to be even harder. The Dodgers. The Dodgers, I think, are pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're a decent baseball team. Yeah. So that could be why it's high at 12. But I mean, it is 12. That's a lot of runs.
12.
That's a lot of runs.
Yeah. So that one should go. It should go late before it hits that 12 too. So
we're looking at the under on that one to test the opposite side of the theory. Totally. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna do it.
But you know what? I like that. Let's put this one right into practice. Let's have some fun with the weather and the wind. I feel a little bit like the weatherman right now, just running forecast. But
if we win those 2, I'm just going to be all over the weather all week long. Like, hey, tornado coming through St. Louis here.
We're going to be all over the weather, watching the forecast in every state across America for the next few weeks, trying to figure out if there is a plausible theory here around the wind. But I like it. I think it's good. I think we track that, see how we do tomorrow with those. And obviously that's 2. It's not really a strong enough sample size. You got to build a strong enough sample size to see. But it is certainly one to look at. So I like what we've done here today, just in terms of simplifying MLB betting, make it easy. If you're a beginner, you want to get in, you want to try some things, you got to put in a little bit of work, obviously. And one side, you're checking the forecast and looking at the weather a lot. The other side, you're going to go through that theory that our friend Tony there and work through sort of his 3-step process. That one's probably, we're going to test that one.
I can't wait to try that. Tony, I can't wait to send you a thank you message just to be.
Yeah. It's like we know Tony. Who knows? Maybe if it works so well and a bunch of people listen to this, maybe Tony decides to come on and chat with us a little bit more about his theory. at some point in time. You never know. So we'll see what happens with that. But I like what we've done here today. It's a good first step into MLB.
Yep.
And we'll test these a little bit more and see how they go. And obviously as the season progresses, if we find some other theories and things like that, we'll explore those as well. But I like this as a first step for MLB.
For sure. And next week we're going to be getting into the Masters.
I love Masters week. I love it.
I know.
It's like one of my favorite weeks of the year.
I know. And it's like we just did it too. We just had it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like in the fall.
That's right. Yeah, obviously, because there it is, 2020 playing in the fall. There it is. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little golf. We're going to get into a little bit of the Masters next week. We'll have some fun with that one. We'll explore that a little bit more. I'm not sure the angle we'll take on the Masters this year, but we'll sort through that. We'll figure it out. And then obviously a lot more, as I think I touched on in last week's podcast, a lot happening in the world of sports coming up here. So we're going to explore a bunch of different things. A few playoffs.
Get my golf swing ready.
Yeah. Oh, it's golfing season.
It looked like more like a baseball swing. It's
a little. Yeah. Well, how's your golf game?
Yeah, it's weak, bud. It's weak. It's terrible. And I'm just. It's in like I just want to be a better golfer so bad. I'm that guy. I know that I only get called out for golf to fill in a fourth when somebody dropped out. Like somebody's sick and they're like, "We need a fourth." Call Gubby out. He at least got a fourth there, but
at least you're honest with yourself and understanding and knowing that
nobody wants to play with the guy that's in the woods all the whole time. Like it's
yeah. It's a tough.
I promise to get better, Boone. I promise.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds like maybe we could have some fun with that. Maybe next week with the Masters, we'll talk a little bit more. I think maybe a little friendly wager we have here. See if we can't get you
on my golf game.
Yeah, on your golf game.
You know what? That would really push me. Maybe I really need something.
Yeah. I mean, we'll set some parameters around it. We'll see. We'll have some fun with that one.
Let's talk this through.
I'd love to see your golf game get better for sure. I think it'd be fun to do that.
So humiliating, man.
Yeah,
hit the damn ball.
I've played a couple rounds with you, but I'm the furthest thing from a golf snob and admit it. I will play with anybody and everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You have that. If ever you just want to go out and play golf, give me a shout. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to explore the woods on one or two holes if we need to. I'm not afraid of a hunt. I've been on a few hunts myself. So I'm open to it. Well, let's explore that maybe a little bit more. We'll have some fun with that next week with the Masters. I think that's a wrap on MLB. We'll check the wind, check social tomorrow and over the course of the weekend here, and we'll circle back on how we did with the windy weather.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. Have a great week.